Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Awesome. Okay, we've got a couple people in here already. Hey, Nicole. Hey, Joan. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. Eek, this is gonna be good. I'm so excited. Okay, so hopefully things will work out well technically because Mercury's still in retrograde and that stuff kind of caused a little bit of kerfuffle for people sometimes. But anyway, all right. So nice to see. People are going to come in here. Oh, Spirit's joining us. Excuse me. Spirit's joining us. Spirit's going to chime into the show here, as it were. Welcome, welcome. So I'm just going to ask everybody to mute as we enter. We're going to start. I'm just going to have everybody mute for now anyway, while we start, as we get going anyway. And then I'll have you, if you have questions or you have some input or whatever, you can certainly unmute yourself to speak. But for the most part, we'll start with that because sometimes those background distractions get a little bit loud when we're talking about, or when we're talking, period, actually. So yeah, welcome, welcome, welcome to Spiritually Speaking. Oh, come on, Merlin,
You want
really?
me to help with like managing the room or anything? You can make me co-host if you want to.
Oh, that's lovely, Nicole. That would be great. Okay, let me see how I do that now. Just a minute. I know I can figure that out. Just a minute. Um, Participants, I think I go into and I go to Nicole. Hello, hello. Make co-host, right? Beautiful. Change Nicole to co-host to Nicole. Yes, I would like to do that. Thank you very much. Very nice. Okay, thank you so much. That's lovely. I don't really know how many to expect. I don't know. I posted it, whatever. I think it's going to grow because I think people are interested. That was quite a list we came up with, and I'm encouraging people, please, add to the list, comment what you want to know about, what you want to link together, what you want to find out about, and what you want to know, in relation to where we are. Oh, excuse me. So spirit, yeah, gonna have to deal with that. I don't know. You all know me. You know me well enough to know that chances are good there's going to be some messages coming through when we have yawns coming in like that. And I have been yawning for the last 15 minutes anyway. Just as I was getting off the Facebook Live, I started yawning. So here we are. Anyway, okay, I would like to do this because I did write this. Well, I didn't write this. Anyway, I want to say this because these words are really, really cool. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Beautiful Souls, to Spiritually Speaking, a space where truth, wisdom, and awakening converge. I'm so honored to have you here. This series is a sacred journey through both seen and unseen realms, from ancient mysteries and hidden histories to spiritual truths and cosmic connections. Together, we'll explore a wide range of topics, some controversial, some mystical, and all of them meant to activate deeper understanding, inner alchemy, and collective illumination. There's no dogma here. There's only curiosity, courage, and connection. This is a safe space to expand, question, and awaken. Thanks, Nicole. Well, this is going to be great. So bring your open mind, your open heart, and your open spark, your divine spark. Let's connect the dots, transmute the shadows, and rise together in light. Thank you for being here. Let's begin. So this journey that we're going to take, I don't know how many of these we're going to do. I think we're going to do a few. I had originally had a list. You saw the pictures in the post of A to Z. I came, this was 5 years ago. I started this list when all of this stuff started to happen, when COVID hit, lockdowns began, and all of a sudden the world changed. Everything changed. Not one person, well, I shouldn't say not one person, because there are still tribes that have yet to expose themselves to our experience. But nonetheless, for the most part, the majority of our world as we know it was engulfed in an experience. And when that happened, I realized, holy crap, this is how it's going to go down. Like I was stunned. I mean, absolutely stunned, folks, because to me, I was all waiting for some love and light stuff. I was waiting for some, okay, so we got some stuff here to deal with, whatever. We'll work on that. But ultimately, I'm waiting for the heavens to open up, some beautiful angels to show up, and my personal angel to come and say, hey, and some sort of really cool, maybe golden craft or something show up, say, hey, chickie, let's rock and roll out of here. I'm like, yeah, let's go. No, that's not at all how it plays out at all. And I've come to, really understand why we're here, what it's all about, and what we're here to do. And we are here to be in and amongst this thick, dark, dense energy and to do something with it for the most part and the majority of it, not all of it. And as I said earlier in the Facebook Live and earlier today with someone else, we have to recognize that we're not going to be changing all of it. Not every single ounce of it is going to be transmutable or transformed or shifted. It has to stay in this way because there are beings who are coming to this planet in other timelines behind us, quote unquote, linear like, behind us, who have yet to experience that stuff. And if we go ahead and transmute it all, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to come here for? That's not how it works. We don't zap it with our really cool divine laser beam stuff. We shift it within ourselves so that we can transmute, we can transcend those energies and get to a higher place. Think from a higher place, a vibration that is above, that rises above these frequencies, that is no longer subjected to the pull magnetically down into this density. And the more we know about this experience and what we're here to transmute, the more we can transmute and clear out of ourselves and this planet, by the way, because it's not just about us. Sure, you can transcend all this energy you want. But if you're going to leave the planet here because you came here to help her do it too, if you're going to leave, all of the planet here and not really give a crap about that, then you're only doing half the job, honey. Just going to say, you got to be in it all the way or freaking forget it. All the way, all the way. And so we're here to transmute the trauma from ourselves, our own cellular experience, and our beautiful Mother Earth, our incredible being here, so that she can also, with us, transcend that and come is sort of, in a way, separate herself, right? Elevate, ascend, transcend that darkness and leave that stuff for those people to experience and to engage with. Well, we elevate into and creating the beautiful world that we know we're here to create, a world of love and light, the polar experience of this world. If this world is 98% dark, then what we are creating is 98% light. It just cannot exist in the same space. That's all. So we have to make that happen for ourselves, transcend that energy, bring it ourselves up there and bring her with us. So it's extremely important that we honor Mother Earth and Gaia, her consciousness, the higher self of this beautiful planet we live on. And she's beautiful. I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about her. The whole concept of flat Earth, the whole concept of spherical Earth, the whole concept of hologram Earth, they all exist. They're all real. Depends on what you believe. That's B. That's why we're doing A to Z rather, because it's all here. And every single thing on that list, and I'm telling you, as you look at that list, you're going to think, how the hell are they all connected? But we can connect every single one of those things to the divine plan that we are here to transcend, live, and transmute. All of it. So buckle up, buttercups, because this is going to be one awesome ride. And I did a program a number of years back. We called it Down the Rabbit Hole. And it was in essence the same idea. It was an A to Z of, different parts of spirituality, different aspects to our experience here. So it covered a wide range. It would have been really like a beautiful kind of portfolio, really. But as I think about it now, I realized that was not quite down the rabbit hole as I was, really aware as far as I was aware we could go. And so this series is going to take us right down the rabbit hole, right down. And I have to let everybody know right off the bat that there is no right or wrong. There is no, there's no incorrect or correct. I'm going to just present what I know, and what I've come to, even in my own experience, been able to validate and vet for myself through a wide range of resources. And so one of the things, that I really have to let everybody remind everybody of is that I work from, and when I present material for people, it comes from a psychic space. It comes from me connecting with my guide and my other guides and saying, listen, we want to bring this, I want to know about this, and I want to bring this to the people. What do I need to know? What is the best way for me to, inform people and teach people what really happened here? Because what really happened here is not what you've been taught. Nothing in your history books is truth in the way that is meant to be taught, understood, and remembered. And we are going to do that in this whole series, because this whole series is going to take us through all the things that history isn't talking about. Your history books are not talking about. Why? That's part of it. It's because they are being controlled. They're being manipulated. They're funded by certain people who dictate what you are learning, what you learn, and what you know about your whole world. Everything. We grow up, we go to school, our parents send us to school, we don't know any different. And they're sending us there to teach us so that we do know something. But what they're teaching us is not what we really need to know for the most part. Oh, there's some stuff in there that's useful. Addition, subtraction, mathematics in some cases, stuff like that, obviously. But even at that, you're not taught the proper systems. We are not taught the proper systems at all. Period. From what I understand, it's not supposed to run on a 10 system. It's actually supposed to run on a 12-point system. So many things, so many ways. That's what this series is about. Spiritually speaking, it's all spiritual. You know what? It's ugly in some cases. We're going to talk about some stuff that you're not going to want to know. You're not going to want to know is real. You're not going to want to know happens, and you're certainly not going to want to know is continuing to happen, and that we're here to help stop it. You're not going to want to know. I didn't want to know either. I really didn't. But you know what? Shying away from it, turning a blind eye to it, avoiding it, and ignoring it is how it got to be as bad as it did. Everybody just closed the curtains and said, that's not my business. I don't want to know about that. It doesn't look good, doesn't feel good, doesn't sound good, doesn't smell good. I don't want to know anything about that. Take it away from me. And here we are. And because of that, those dark forces have taken over our planet. They've taken over this experience for us, where we have a chance in a beautiful way now to say, okay, fine, here we are. What are we going to do with it? What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do for it? Right? What's the purpose? It got as bad as it's going to get. It's not going to get any worse, because we are here now in an awakening space to actually stop it where it's at. But all that stuff that's happened before then now has to happen, and it has to stay there so that others can experience it. But they're not going to experience anything worse than we have. But what we are experiencing right now is a complete breakdown, a complete dismantling, a disassembling of everything we've ever known as the structure of this world. And it's not because it's anything other than necessary, because it's not a true system. So, excuse me, we're going to talk about all of those points on the list. And I have this really cool book. This really cool book that I purchased online. And then I printed, hang on. I printed off all 120 pages. And you've seen this book. If you're on Facebook, you have seen this book. This is the Book of Wisdom. I highly encourage everybody to buy it. Absolutely buy it. This tells the truth. This stuff tells you who we are, why we're here, what we're doing, and what we're supposed to do with it. That we are human, meaning that we are light beings. We are of the light spectrum. We are God-like beings who are of the light spectrum here on this planet. All of this stuff. We're going to reference a lot of this stuff in this series. I don't know how long the series is going to be, but I can tell you we're going to cover and we're going to connect the dots to everything on that list. And I wrote that list out a couple of different ways and different places because it's important and because things kept being added to it. Like I said, I started this list 5 years ago. 5 years ago when everybody started to wake up. And I was like, okay, we need to know about this stuff. Now, granted, I might have come a little hard. I might have come at it a little hard for people because I know well, a lot of people turned away. They didn't want to hear. They did not want to hear me, who they'd known for years, talking love and light and doing all that stuff, start talking about all the dark stuff that's actually out there. Nobody wanted to hear that stuff from me. They all wanted to hear me talk about the fluffy stuff and all the gushy stuff. Well, I would be remiss in ignoring that and not telling you this stuff. There's a lot of things that happened over the last 5 years that I needed to be vocal about for people that they didn't think was spiritual. No place saying that. It's not right. That's a political view, or that's any and all of that stuff. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that people felt that way. But again, that's not my job to make it all cushy and candy coat everything for everybody. That does nobody any good. It's a disservice. And here, my guys are saying, you got to talk about this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'll talk about this stuff. And nobody was happy. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. A lot of people were not happy with it. And that's okay. It gave them a reality slap. They were all of a sudden thinking, wait a minute, if she's talking about that stuff, it must be real. But I'm going to tell you something. I might have been love and light for 20 years. I didn't discount, dismiss, or disregard the dark side in any way. We talked about it. In fact, I did a lot of stuff in regards to that, but it wasn't necessarily out there, right? It was, I came to clear your house because you got some ickies going on. Or, I cleared your body, your energy field, because you got some stuff stuck to you that isn't very nice. Things like that. But now I'm talking about demons. Now I'm talking about negative force aliens. Now I'm talking about malevolent beings. And now I'm talking about Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and everything else. And everybody's like, what are you talking about Satanism for? Actually did my live a couple of weeks ago. I wore a Not Today Satan shirt. And the first comment that came up, and I don't know how many after that came up, but anyway, it was, why is she wearing a shirt that says Satan? Because I am not a proponent of Satan's works by any means, but let's face it, we all work for the same boss. And the faster we realize that, the faster we get over the fear and the heaviness and the I don't want to look at this stuff, energy. Not my partner, not my plan, not my colleague in any way. I have done work. We've done work to clear people's contracts together because he holds the contracts for a lot of people, Just going to say that being is very real. And ever since I was a little girl, I've known that. When I was little, like 20 years of love and light. But when I was little, I was very aware of this stuff. I've been psychic my whole life. And not necessarily in the way that a lot of people are. We're all psychic differently. But I have been psychic my whole life. I've seen spirit, heard spirit, and felt spirit my whole life. And I have known things and just understood stuff my whole life, ever since I was a little girl. My mother used to take me to exorcisms when I was little. Like, my mother was kind of in a bit of a interesting church experience of her own, her own spiritual experience. But nonetheless, regardless, here I was 5, 6 years old, and because I can see all that stuff, like it was twice as intense for me, but I knew that stuff was real. Nobody had to tell me that stuff, teach me about that stuff. I saw it firsthand before anybody told me what the heck it was. Now, it's not to say whether right or wrong that I was in that situation to begin with, but the point was I learned. And so growing up my whole life as a psychic and understanding, and then shutting down and closing off and doing all this stuff and then opening way up again, for bit of that, I knew, okay, whoa, we have some polar experiences happening here. We have some alternative energy and we have some alternate energy. It's not always running in the same current we're running on. It's not always in the same space we're running on. And when, you start to understand energetics and things like that, I'm no scientist. I am no scientist. I don't understand quantum physics, and even in the simplest form. All I know is what I know psychically. I can tell you I failed science in high school. First of all, I never even finished high school. So everything you get from me, by the way, is all self-learned. I've taught myself everything, and my guides have helped me learn it all. Nonetheless, I failed science miserably. I couldn't even do it. I just didn't make sense to me, whatever. I just wasn't interested. This stuff is a different kind of science that we're interested in, chelantic science, things like that. This is what we're talking about now. Soul science, creation science. That's different than the science that we're talking about in the planetary experience, right? The planetary life. So that being said, aliens, all of that stuff, demons, it's all real. And so we have to address this. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants to talk about demons. I don't blame you. I've seen them. I've dealt with them. They're nasty beings. Even in the A's, as we go through aliens and the Anunnaki, I'm going to tell you, some aliens out there are not nice. They're not nice. No interest in helping the humans. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. But there are a lot of benevolent creatures, beings, and energies around us and at our, I don't want to say disposal, but at our availability, that we can use, that are here to help us in good ways. So we want to talk about those too. It's not all about transmuting evil. It's about recognizing and discerning what we can trust and what we can't. These are the critical and most pinnacle points of our time as humans on this planet. We are the game changers. We are the ones who came here right now to learn all of this stuff and do something with it. And the more you know, the more you glow. Information is power, and everything you need to know comes in this kind of information. All of the stuff that we're talking about is occulted information. The word occult technically and derives from being occulted, meaning it is from the ocular experience. And when you're occulted from something, you are hidden from that occult. You're hidden from that ocular ability. Your ocular ability to see something about your world is prevented. Veiled, hidden. This is what this program is for. So we're going to go through quickly. I'm going to run through the list because it's awesome. And like I said, please message me if there's stuff I've left out, because I had to add stuff, like as you saw in some of the pictures, there was other letters or other things that were written in different colors and whatnot, because, oh my God, I had to add this in. I had to add that in. Oh, I forgot about this, or this didn't happen before now. I didn't need to talk to you really too intensely about Ukraine 5 years ago, because it wasn't at the forefront. And even though it's not necessarily at the forefront now, although it is and it isn't, kind of is and isn't, it came into the forefront a couple of years ago, and it is at the root. We need to understand this. It is at the root. It is the root where we have to go. That's where almost every bit of the last 300 years started from. What was Khazaria? The Khazarian Mafia, all of that stuff. We're talking about that. Do you know about that stuff? This is the system that's been implemented, and ingrained, embedded in our programs. So we're dealing with it. We're exposed to it, and we are living within its programming, right? And its programming is enslavement and genocide, eugenics, and all of these things, that the elephants in the room, and there's like freaking ton of them. And we have got to stop ignoring them. We have to stop ignoring them. We have to start looking at them and seeing them for what they are. Aliens and Anunnaki. That's the A's. We're going to start with the A's, and the A's are chock full, and there's a ton of them too. Okay, aliens and Anunnaki. Anunnaki and the planet Nibiru. Nibiru is where they came from. And this book here, okay, Zecharia Sitchin, okay, the 12th planet, one of many books he wrote. But that one right there is one that talks about how they came here. Anunnaki in and of itself, the actual word means those who from the heavens came. They came here from another planet and they hijacked our planet. They were cruising along in their ship one day and they're like, hey, look at that place. Let's fuck some shit up. Just going to say it like that. And they did. They came here because they had a plan. Let's turn the polarity here negative. And so it was already in a vulnerable space, this planet, because she had already been willing to fall from grace. She'd already had been slightly dislocated, we'll say, to the point where she was hanging on by a thread. Her consciousness was really hanging on by a thread. And they saw that vulnerability and they took advantage of it. Kind of what they do now. It's their game. And in so doing, they infiltrated this planet and they came here with an evil plan. And even the word evil, we're going to talk about that, because if you write that word down, you'll realize it is the word live backwards. And what is it telling you? It is exactly that. What happens? This is how you live backwards. This is all of the ways that you can live backwards, not naturally, not according to natural law and God's plan or divine creator's plan, prime creator's plan. Not at all. Aliens and Anunnaki, adrenochrome. Do you know about adrenochrome? You don't want to know, but I'm going to tell you anyway, and we're going to talk about that too. Why? Because it is one of the biggest elements to why all of this stuff happens. You see, they're sucking our life force from us, folks. They're trying so damn hard to live whatever life they've got left by sucking our energy out of us to do it. We are the little batteries. They have no life of their own. They are not full of source energy. They're not able to channel source energy because they're shadow beings. All of the dark forces are shadow beings. They were all created as an offshoot of our light. What happens on the outside of our light? This is all of that stuff. It's brilliant. Diabolically brilliant and brilliantly diabolical. That's the first time you're going to hear me say it, but it's not the last. I'm going to tell you that right now. Adrenochrome. So that's the life force that they're sucking out of us, as well as our energy. Antifa. See, this is how far back this goes. 5 years ago, Antifa, when all the Black Lives Matter stuff was happening and all the Antifa and all that stuff with that guy, George Floyd, and all that shit happened. BS, every bit of it. Just distraction. We're going to talk about that. Marina Abramovic. Have you heard of this woman? Do you know who she is? I know. What does it matter? Who the hell cares? She's over there. I'm over here. She has nothing to do with my life. Let me tell you something. These are the forces of energy. And as long as they are amped up and working actively, we have to do something to counteract that with light. This woman is pure evil. Marina Abramovic is associated with some of the most famous faces. Bill Gates, a few years back, actually just at the start of COVID, we'll talk about that too. She did a little intro for Microsoft, actually. Look this woman up. I'm telling you right now, you'll be horrified. She is so closely associated with people like Lady Gaga, who's also on this list somewhere. These people are evil. They are Satanists, and they do the most horrific practices. She is pure evil. I'm telling you right now, and you'll be disgusted when you hear it. But the fact is, you cannot turn away from it. I'm not saying explore everything and love it all. Don't love any of it, but explore it all. You know why? Because you need to know what she's up to. Know thy enemy. That way we can combat with the most appropriate force. A couple of prayers ain't going to cut it, folks. I'm telling you right now, a couple of prayers it's not going to cut it. It's just not. This is Harry Potter. This is Lord of the Rings shit we're going through right now. This is a battle of light and dark. And we are those ones here who are equipped for that battle with the light that we hold, and we wield the sword of truth. And with that, just that and that alone dispels the darkness, dispels that evil, and gets us away from it because we are no longer participating in it. Sword of truth doesn't necessarily kill off evil. The sword of truth sets you free from the evil. So it separates you, it severs your connection to it because you are aware of it. You're no longer subjected to it because you now know, you now know what game it's playing. And you're not playing that game no more. You're not playing that game. I'm going to teach you how to not play the game no more. Angels, very real experiences. And I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you if I didn't know that for a fact, because I can tell you Archangel Michael has saved my life twice physically saved my life. I would not be sitting here telling you that if it wasn't for him. So angels are very real. We're going to talk about them too. They are more than just concepts. Okay, they are angles of consciousness. They are angles of God's consciousness, prime creator's consciousness, that are available for all of us to tap into and that are there for us to be serviced by. Okay, but they are much more than that. Energetically, they are incredibly powerful beings. They just can't affect anything physical in this world, this dimensional experience. Just so you know, Michael's the only one who can do that. That's why I said he's the only one, because that's how I'm here. Because he is the only archangel. He's an arcing energy, which means he's the highest part of energy, the highest arcing point of energy, the most strongest point. And what happens is in that space, he actually has the ability to be bilocative, which means he can be anywhere and everywhere at the same time. But he's also here to affect that physical change and that experience because his chief role is to protect us from evil and from harm. And that's his job. And he does a damn good job. So Michael is amazing. Angels are very real. Anon material, the Anon, the QAnon stuff. There's a lot of interesting information about that. I'm not a Q follower by any means, but I can tell you honestly, I have been on more than one occasion very surprised with the stuff that comes out. And you've got to know that it's all part of the biggest plan. It's all connected. Everything is connected. It's all predictive and it's all connected. And by the way, time travel is also, it's going to be on the list here at some point because I didn't put it on there, but time travel and time itself is also going to be a topic we talk about because that's how that stuff works. When we have predictive stuff like that, that's how it works. People are traveling from back and forth from one time space to another. It's real. It happens. You know, the government is going to tell you all the stuff that they're up to and that they've discovered. They're not going to tell you any of it. They don't want you to know how far advanced they are. They don't want you to know what they know, because the minute you are empowered with the knowledge that they have, they lose that power and that edge and that advantage over us. We're going to talk about that too. Artificial intelligence is next on the list. Here we are again to transmute. There is good and there's bad everywhere. Polarity, duality is very real experience for all of us. And what we have to do is take the good stuff and use it. Take the bad stuff and make it good, and then use it for good. Take the bad stuff, use it for good. Okay, we've got to do that. I'm always reminded of that scene in Lethal Weapon 2, where Murtaugh and Riggs are trapped in that container, you know, above the water or whatever. And there's a car in there. There's all this money. There's like piles of money. And I remember Riggs telling Murtaugh to take some money. Go ahead. He said, you know, with what I hold in my hand right here, I could put all three of my kids through college. It's one of my favorite movies, so I'll know the lines. All three of my kids through college. And Riggs says to him, go ahead and take it and do something good with it. That, my friends, is called transmutation. Is that an evil act? Is he stealing from the guy who stole from people to make it good? Is that a bad thing then? Or is it actually transmutation? Is it taking something that has a negative energy attached to it and changing it? Think about that. Now, ascension. We're going to talk about that with AI. That's why I'm saying that. Ascension, Antarctica. Oh my God, have we got stuff to talk about with Antarctica? First of all, we're going to start with the Admiral Byrd stuff all the way back to 1940s. This man saw it all, beyond the ice wall, everything. That's a topic we're going to really have fun with. Agenda 2021, Agenda 2030. You know why? Because it's still in place, people. We might have got through 21. We might have barely skinned our knees getting out of 21. But 2030 is a very real agenda. And 2025 is a pinnacle point for them, by the way, just so you know. There's a huge shift that happens in 2025. Look it all up. They documented it all. I'm not telling you stuff that I found in some secret, cave some friggin' where. I'm telling you right now, this is shit that they put out there. They put it out there because they have to. There are rules of engagement and we have to all abide by them. And for the most part, they love to play by the rules, except when they're roofing us and violating us in the most horrific ways. But they love to play by the rules. You know why? Because those rules say that it's out there for us. And they love it because we don't look. They've dumbed us down so damn hard, so damn much and so damn hard that most of us don't even go looking for the truth. We don't even assume that there's anything other than what we've been taught as truth. And they count on that. They count on that. And that's, again, why we're going to talk about all of these points, making connections to one another, because that's where the fluoride comes in, the chemtrails comes in, the shit in your food that they put in, all this stuff comes in, all of it, the programming in the TV, the media, the entertainment world, the news. Oh my God, the news. Okay. Anyway, okay. See, this is why I had to do this program. This is why I had to do these calls, because this information has to get out there. I am busting with it and I can't hold it in any longer. I just can't, because they are all connected. And the minute we get on board with it all, the faster, as a united front, we can transmute this stuff and transcend it. And those of us who are meant to move into that higher space of living will do so. We'll do so, and we'll do it real easy because we're doing this stuff. Okay, into the B's, belief. Talking about belief and why that matters. It's all about belief. It's in the word. It's right there. Believe. Because what you believe in, you believe in. So that's the whole point. The programs, everything counts on us believing in it. That's what sets you up in an energetic alignment with that experience and the outcomes of it. Just so you know. All right, the Bible. Lots of goodies in the Bible, people. Lots of truth in the Bible, but you know what? A lot of bullshit too. And it has been selectively chosen to be what it is as propaganda. No different than anything else in our world. It is literally what they want you to know and only what they want you to know. Now, granted, again, there's lots of truth in there. They hit it. They stuck it in this spot and they put it in that parable and they put it over here. And you're supposed to dig through and hopefully have enough discernment and enough wherewithal about you, maybe even a little bit of divine guidance coming in to tell you this nugget, that nugget, this, you got to look at this. This is something you need to be aware of. The revelations, for instance, we'll talk about them because they're directly related. It's in there. Do you know that they talk about the Khazarian Mafia in the Bible? Do you know they warn us about the synagogue of Satan and those who pretend to be something that they're not? That's this stuff. That's all of this stuff. It's so cool. It's so cool. Okay, it's all connected. BLM, Black Lives Matter. Why does that matter? It all matters, right? Because George Soros and people like that are funding it, and George Soros is a really big key player here. The Black Eye Club. Oh, yeah, we'll talk about that too. You're not going to like that either. Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove is a very real thing. We've had a lot of people who tried to infiltrate it. We've had a couple who actually made it in. Alex Jones was one of them. Took a bunch of video footage of it. This is stuff that is secret. This is secret society stuff. This is stuff that goes on in the upper echelons of society and of the world. Literally, the elite of the world. These are people who make more money than we can even count, in a day or whatever. Like, these are people who we have no concept, no real understanding of what's going on at those levels. We're going to talk about those too, just like what's happening in our country right now, in Canada specifically, as I'm talking. A lot of stuff going on. Most people don't even know. We think, oh, there's a little battle for like political space. Please, people, nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. That's just a show for you all. That's just a Friday night fights. That's all that is. What's really happening is way up here. Like, they're playing our countries like it's Monopoly, Risk, and chess, for goodness sake. That's where we're at. That's what we're talking about. You've got titles on our countries, and some countries own other countries and don't even, you don't know. You don't know. We don't know. Why? Because they don't tell us. None of our business. Yeah, little peasants down here. Biden. There's a topic we're going to get into. Hunter, Joe, and James. All three of them. Evil. Evil, evil, evil as they come. Bush, there's another bunch right there. Oh my goodness me, is that a topic and a half? The Bush family goes back generations and they spew evil all the way, all the way. Into the seas, CERN, the big collidro, the big hadron collider. Oh my goodness, people, if you actually really understood what was happening there, once again, we don't know. Oh, they think, oh, they're smashing particles together. That's really cool. Look what they can do for science. Do you know what they're doing? I'm going to tell you, if you are interested in really what's going on there, or at least a glimpse of what is potentially starting to unfold from that space, I'm going to encourage you to go onto Netflix, and I'm pretty sure it's still running, but it's called Stranger Things. They have a series there, Stranger Things. That, my friend, is what happens when they run CERN. When they run CERN, they are not only smashing little particles together and making these wonderful worlds collide, they're opening stargates and portals, and they're bringing through crap, all kinds of nasty stuff. Like, I can't even begin. We're going to talk about that stuff too. Chemtrails. Oh, charities after CERN, charities. And you know how many times we've given to charities over the years? Let me tell you, don't do it anymore. Don't do it anymore. Chemtrails, smaller ones are different, right? Like smile.org, where they give these beautiful funding to little children who need, they have cleft lips and things like that. They get surgeries and things like that. That's different. That's different. Red Cross, UNICEF, oh my good God, World Vision, all of these. No. Unit, no. Salvation Army, no. Just saying. Chemtrails. That's another big topic we're going to talk about. The Clintons. Oh my good God, people. The Clintons. They have their own category. I'm going to tell you right now. Crisis actors. Do you know about crisis actors? There are such a thing as crisis actors. Yeah, we're going to talk about them too, because they're all connected. It's all connected. How do you think they're going to sell you those stories unless they have people dressed up looking like it's real? That's what they do. Did you know that about the news? Nobody thinks that about the news, but really, that's the news. That's what they do, believe it or not. I know, it's despicable. Cabal, the cabal, right back to the Khazarian mafia and all of the Rockefeller Rothschild stuff. Cabal. Cannibalism is also very real, and actually, believe it or not, it's very much a big deal with them. They love that stuff. Conspiracies. The fact is, the conspiracy concept itself, conspiracy theory, it always comes together in those two words. No. It is conspiracies. Conspiracy means a plot against something or somebody as a whole, like a dark, dastardly plot against people, general population. Theory is, oh, this could be, it's an idea that it could be happening, it could be true. You can push that shit to the side right now. I'm telling you right now, all this stuff, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove every bit of this stuff. These are not theories. Every bit of this is real, and every bit of this is connected, and it's all important for us to know about and to not shy away from, because the faster we realize that the boogeyman isn't as scary looking as we thought he was, and he's not nearly as, big a threat as he ever was, then all of a sudden the boogeyman realizes his power has diminished completely, and he no longer is the threat to us that he once was. And therefore, all of that fearful stuff that we were so afraid of facing, it's gone. And what happens? We light that stuff up. We light it right up. And all of us, every one of us, enjoys enlightenment, experiences enlightenment, and actually does the job we came to do, moving into that higher dimensional space of living, experiencing all of those wonderful, qualities and elements of that higher space. You've ever seen those pictures that people draw of futuristic cities that are all crystalline buildings and beautiful architecture and wonderful landscapes? That's what we're talking about. That's fifth dimensional living. You're living it here on this planet Earth. It is a part of this experience, but you're not living it in this dimensional space. If angels are real and they exist and they're standing right next to me right now, what dimensional space are they living in? They see my world, but they're not living in it. Not the way I am. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's what we're talking about here. This is how we get to that place, by finding out all of this stuff, realizing what it is, recognizing it for what it does, which is just elevate us and help us come back to where we need to be. Knowing our true and understanding our true magnificence. Know thyself. That's what we're here for. And as much as we talk about the dark forces, we talk about evil, we talk about all that nasty stuff, I got to give them great gratitude and thankfulness, because this is the most intense work we've ever had to do. And it's because of their experience that it's that intense for us. But man, when I come out of this, and when we all elevate from this, when we all come out of this, we'll have done what no other humans have ever done before, ever. And I know we win because I've seen the future. I've seen us in those spaces. I've seen us living in those dimensional experiences. I've seen it. And that's what I make my living at, seeing stuff that nobody else can see yet, or tangibly, whatever that might be. So nonetheless, here we go. We're going to continue on. China, big deal. Back 5 years ago, I had to talk about China. Why? Because China was huge. It still is an integral part. China goes back thousands and thousands of years, way further back than this Western Hemisphere stuff. So we need to recognize them because they've had a foothold here for a very long time. And those forces, by the way, are not just about, everything you find in the Dollarama. It's not just about all the stuff and the products and the import, exports, all that crap. There's much more playing out here. Okay, there's much more playing out here. This stuff has also been prophesized in the Bible. CIA. Oh, by the way, under C, I should put Kim Clement. Kim Clement is a prophet from just even in the last 10 years. I think he died in 2016 or 2017, but I know he did prophecies up until then anyway. And a lot of his stuff has already come true, and many people are very, very aware of it. There have been prophets throughout the ages to let us know what the heck is going on here, to wake us up to the reality, to the real truth of what's happening. CIA, let's look at that, the CIA, right? The Central Intelligence Agency, rather, and as other people like to call it, the Catholics in Action Organization. Yeah, that's what I said, the Catholics in Action Organization. Grab that. I know we'll talk about it. Communism, folks. Central banks. Oh, there's a huge topic right there, because that right there is also a major part of the root. It is one of the huge tendrils that come off of the root of our experience here, and where all this evil sits and started from. Okay. Central banks and clones. Oh, they are real. I'm not kidding. They're real. I know. Who'd have thunk it? Really? I know, but it's true. They are real. And they have been, believe it or not, working on clones, and in the military, but working on clones since like the 40s. The 40s, 1940s. Into the D's, here we go. Demons. And this is just an intro tonight, so it's all good. If you want to hang out and listen to the rest of this, it's all cool. But just so you know, this is where we're going with this. We're going to take these, not necessarily one at a time, but maybe a letter at a time. We'll go through a bunch of them at once. We might even just connect a bunch of dots and talk about one topic or so at a time. Anyway, for the D's, we have demons. Very, very real experience, people, by the way. And just so you know, you don't need to be scared of them, because that's what they want from you anyway. But I'm going to say it, more people have demonic attachments and demonic influences in their life than they are aware of, than most people are aware of. It's a very real, not just a phenomenon, but it's actually a very real plague. It would be something that I would consider to be one of the most important parasitic invasions that we have to actually recognize and take care of. So demons are a big deal. Deep state, dumbs. Oh, the deep state, by the way, that's the shadow governments. That's the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, where all your politicians are behind the podiums. You're watching them and voting for them and doing all that stuff and playing the circus game. That's what's actually happening. The deep state is actually looking after all that stuff and taking care of it, and it's going on behind your back, right under your nose. You just don't know it. Dumbs, deep underground military bases. Do you know about these? These are very real, and they are all around our world, by the way. And here, even in Ontario, we have trails, tunnels. We have deep underground military bases here. We have them stretching from Ontario right to the border of the United States. We have them going all the way up to Ottawa. We have them moving all the way across the country. We have underground tunnels that have been bored from one side of this country to the other. And actually in the States as well, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of bored underground tunnels that nobody even hardly knows about. Unless you work for those people, or you're privy to the knowledge some way, somehow, how are you going to figure that out? Unless you're sitting there watching some Discovery Channel show one night and they talk about these huge boring machines, on Mighty Machines or some shit like that. When you're watching, you think, what the hell do they do that for? And they show you, they take it down 2-3 miles beneath the surface you're walking on. 2 or 3 miles beneath the surface you're walking on, they bore tunnels from one place to another. The hell for? We're going to talk about that too. I'll tell you what for. That's where human trafficking and stuff like that comes in. Yeah, that's what I said. All right, DEWs, direct energy weapons. Do you know about these things? This is incredible. This is happening all over the place right now. And you could find lots of examples of interesting fire formations, we'll call them. Okay. So, you know, like a fire, a forest fire breaks out and it sweeps down one side of the street, but just one side of the street, just one side. And all these homes get wrecked, but not those homes on the other side. Not one spark hits the other side of the road. None at all. It's clean fire right all the way down. Huh? It doesn't seem quite right. We know that that's not quite right how Mother Nature rules. She's not clean cut. She just goes. Something interesting about direct energy weapons. They're very, very real. And there's been a lot of really good experiences, a lot of really, examples of that. Going back, I don't even know how many years now, but just in the last few, let's look at Hawaii. Let's go to Maui. Maui was a biggie. Maui was huge for direct energy weapon stuff. Some of the, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Yeah, I can get off these tangents, I'm telling you. Dark web is a real thing too. Everything we do, email, Gmail, all that stuff, there's a whole other world going on in another different, complete cyberspace than you are even aware of. And these people are hacking. That's where your hackers live. That's where all of these scammers live, and all of these people that are, you know, doing these nefarious things. That's where they live. They're finding your information out. They're data mining. They're doing all that stuff from the dark web. Draconians are also very real. As part of the Star Nation stuff we're going to talk about. This stuff here, galactic heritage, all of us came from somewhere else. Not one person that I know or have met, and there are people on this planet who are, but I haven't met them yet. But there are people here. But for the most part, most of us have come here from somewhere else. We are a collective DNA compilation that has produced these beautiful humans, these beautiful beings that we are. But everybody carries star DNA from other planets and other spaces. Everybody. And you're talking about Sirius, Andromeda, draconian energies, like all of that stuff. There's everything out there. We're going to talk about that too. That comes into the aliens and the Anunnaki as well, but also draconians and the reptilian stuff. Drugs, not necessarily like pharma drugs. That's a whole topic on itself, but drugs as in, like alcohol and cannabis and stuff like that. Like they're all, they all serve a purpose to a certain degree, but after that, there's certainly, stuff we need to be aware of. So we need to be able to keep a moderation about us with that stuff, especially. And Disney. Do you know about Disney? Disney. How many of us grew up with Disney? What is it? 6 o'clock on Sundays after Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Everybody listened to Disney. Everybody watched Disney. We watched all these wonderful shows, these movies, these everythings. Disney is actually one of the most evil elements on this planet. My mother would be rolling in her grave right now. Well, except I had her cremated, but anyway. That's funny. I don't care where you're from. Okay. She would be, honestly. My mother loved Disney. And when she passed, I brought a bunch of her videos and stuff. She had like, I don't know, 50 videos from Disney. All different kinds. Lady and the Tramp. There's a whole bunch of them. They're good. They're not as bad as, but I have come across some things incredibly disturbing about Disney. And not just the movies, not just the subliminal messages and the subliminal images that we were all subjected to growing up, but that, what we subjected our children to over the last 25, 30 years too. Unbelievable. Not to mention Disney himself. We'll talk about him too, because he falls into this in a huge, huge way, connected in a lot of different areas, a lot of different things. Not a nice man. See the polarity playing out here though, folks? That's the point. So we have to see there's a projection of good, but there's a shadow of not good. And we're here to separate and to discern and to recognize that is a thing, that's a real thing. Okay, energy. Everything is energy. Everything is energy, and energy is everything. So that really matters. We're going to talk a lot about that. Enlightenment is huge. Again, we talk about that, releasing trauma. Epstein. Yeah. We're going to get there. We're going to talk about that because it's very real too. And it's very much part of all of this stuff too. They're connected in so many different ways. Epstein is connected to all kinds of this stuff in so many different places. Evolution. It's important to note. Do you know Darwin was Not what we thought he was. You know, how many of us look back and think, oh, Darwin wrote the theory of evolution. And we all know that. We say that because that's what we learned, right? Darwin, the theory of evolution. We came from this little amoeba that eventually crawled out of the water, that eventually walked on land, became from a a bipedal being. Did you know that that's BS? And that Darwin didn't actually write the book. We're going to talk about that too. Darwin's family was rich. So Darwin had that book written. He sent somebody out to do a bunch of stuff, and you just go ahead and research all that stuff and then write me a book and we'll talk about it. We'll publish it. And then we'll pull the wool over everybody's eyes and say, this is how it really happened. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Okay. Crazy stuff, crazy stuff. And eugenics. Eugenics. Oh, dear goodness. If you don't know about eugenics, you need to know about eugenics, because that's actually the biggest proponent, the biggest pusher right now for the whole reset stuff, for everything that's happening. It fits with depopulation. It fits with overpopulation. It fits with all kinds of different things, vaccines and everything that we're going through right now. Everything. This is not my opinion, folks. I'm just going to present to you what I have learned, what you need to know that I've learned, that I've come to know, that is important for us to know. And you can form your own opinion. I don't really care what it is. None of my business what your opinion is, just like it's none of your business what my opinion is really either. But I'm going to tell you most of the time. Sorry, I can't help it. But that's who I am. You know, you love me for it. You know, you love me for it. Okay. All right. God bless you all for paying attention and for being with me anyway. Fluoride, we're into the F's. Got a few F's of my own to share. Fluoride. It's in everything. It's terrible, and it's not good for us at all. It's in our food, which is also the next category. We're talking about the food that we've been eating and what's in that and how they've done us that way. And flat Earth, like I said before, flat, spherical, or hologram. It doesn't really matter. It's all real. But we're going to talk about flat Earth because it does matter to a certain degree in terms of when you're looking at things like the ice wall, Tartaria, and all of these different civilizations like Atlantis and Lemuria. Flat Earth actually matters, believe it or not. It's important to note. Georgia Guidestones, which are no longer, I don't know if anybody's aware of that or not, a couple of years ago, somebody bombed them. But they were a wonderful thing, a beautiful topic of conversation we'll get to, that talked about the rules that humanity really should follow and abide by. They were set out for in a number of different languages for the world to follow, in terms of a eugenics kind of concept of you're only supposed to have so many people on the planet, you're supposed to live this way, you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to do that. The Guidestones were quite an interesting thing. They came about in the 70s, and we'll talk about that, but they were bombed just a few years ago. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because like, really, is that them trying to destroy the evidence, or is that them just trying to say, you know, like, okay, it's done deal. It's over. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Gates, Bill and Melinda. Evil. Global warming, also bullshit. No, not my opinion, but I'm just trying to say, they keep messing around with the dials. You're going to have global warming. You're going to have global cooling. You're going to have all kinds of stuff because they keep flipping the dial around. And we saw that recently, as we have noticed over the last few months, especially here in Ontario, when we got hit with all kinds of snow that we normally don't get as much as we did. And then an ice storm and all this other stuff is happening. And then 17 degrees. And then down to -2 again. Give me a break, folks. Yeah, you're trying to prove your point. We get it. It's all good. Global warming. GMOs, genetically modified organisms. Gotta love that. They're everywhere. Have you seen these strawberries? They have no flavor whatsoever, but they're like this big. You can make a meal out of the damn thing. Genetically modified. Who wants that? That's not even real. Seedless watermelon. You're not supposed to have stuff that doesn't have seeds in it. Just saying. HARP. 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 Do you know about HARP? Oh my good Lord, HARP. Okay, HARP is this huge thing. We're going to talk about that too. And it's incredible, but it's actually what's causing a lot of the earthquakes that we have around the world right now. That one that just happened in Taiwan, I think it was. Holy crap, Thailand or Taiwan? That was HARP. I'm telling you right now. And I have seen footage of whistleblowers who are talking about the effects of HARP and how they accidentally caused the earthquakes in New Zealand, I think it was. Oh no, Christchurch in Australia. They inadvertently, accidentally shot their little HARP missile or their HARP pulse energy missile, whatever it is, to this area, and they accidentally like caused a huge earthquake in Christchurch, Australia, a few years back. This is what they do. This is how they're messing with our planet. This is what they're messing with, and this is how they're messing with us. Holograms, Hitler. Oh my God, I've had some really interesting thoughts about Hitler recently, which tie us in, by the way, to the Khazarian Mafia and the Rothschilds. We'll get to that because you're going to find them fascinating. And some stuff about the Bible, I think you'll also find interesting. Human trafficking is also under H here. Oh my God, it's a real thing and it's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl, things like that, because that is also very important to note about human trafficking. January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and we need to know that because it leads into the Super Bowl in February. Why? Because that's the biggest event. When everybody's busy eating chicken wings and watching football, millions and millions and millions of people are being moved in a human trafficking movement. It's terrible. HBC, do you know about the HBC lists? They call that the Hillary's body count list. Yeah, we'll talk about that. That falls under Clinton's, but I wanted to give her own thing because that's a whole thing all in its own. And Hollywood. We'll talk about that too. Eyes, Illuminati, and Israel. That's a very important thing. By the way, Nicole, my darling, it was 1948 that the Declaration came out, the Balfour Declaration, but originally it was in 1917 that all took place, by the way, that was written up to begin with. It was actually put into statehood in the 1948s. Anyway, JFK and RFK, seniors and juniors, incredible beings. These are all players. You're going to recognize we're in the middle of a movie. These are main characters that we need to be aware of. Anybody we talk about is a main character. There's a spotlight on them. That means they're a star. We have to look up to see what's going on with them. That's what that's all about. That's why celebrities are supposed to be such a big deal. You're supposed to look up to them. Bullshit. Anyway, these main characters, though, that we're talking about, you know, the political people, the religious people, like all of those ones who are absolutely in the spotlight are the ones that we need to look at and see, because they're the ones that are going to tell us something. They're the ones that are going to show us some truth. And it might not be nice, but it's necessary. So JFK and RFK are very, very important factors here. Also with the Khazarian Mafia, which is not on the list here, but will be, and the KKK, also a very important point. Light, love, and Lucifer for the L's. That's right. I threw those three together. Light, love, and Lucifer all together. Do you know Lucifer? The word actually means light bearer, bringer of light. He is a light bearer. Why is that? Is it because all of the stuff that they do in the dark to serve him actually helps push people to the light? I kind of think so. The moon, the matrix, right? So the moon, you know, the moon's not real, right? The moon's just like a kind of like a satellite kind of deal. It was trucked in here. When I found that out, I don't know, probably, I don't know, 15 years ago, my guide, actually, maybe not that long, maybe 12 or 13 years ago, my guide told me that the moon was not real. Actually showed me footage of them hauling it into our atmosphere. Now, granted, as a psychic, I see a lot of stuff. Like I told you, I see demons and shit like that. Anyway, that was just like mind blowing for me. I was like, what's happening? It was as if it was like a movie scene where they had like ropes or some shit. They were like pulling it into the atmosphere. It was a tractor beam, and it was literally hauled in electromagnetically into place into our atmosphere, our galaxy, and it serves a purpose. It has incredible potential to influence us. Look what she does with the oceans. Those moon rays, those moon energy beams, those moon vibrations actually cause one of our incredibly powerful principles to be active all the time, and that's the ebb and flow energy. Constantly teaching us in a real time and a very, very physical way what that energy experience is all about. The law of ebb and flow, the law of rhythm, is all about that back and forth, right? Abundance and lack, abundance and lack. There's where we are. We have to find the balance to be in the middle of that. So the moon is very important for us to note, and it causes us to have a lot of stuff. It's very connected to our head. Matrix, we're in it, and how we get the hell out of it. It's the point. Watch the movie. You know, there's going to be people who do not want to be unplugged. It's very frustrating. Just going to say. But God bless them, because they're holding space there for us in that regard. You got to have people to hold that space there. You gotta. So let them be there. Don't worry about it. Don't keep your focus there. Look somewhere else. Look where where you find yourself feeling good. Look at your own stuff. The media, once again, we're going to talk about that because it's only owned by 6 companies. 6 forces own that media, which means that you're getting only what they want you to know, just so you know. Military, also very important for us to recognize. Med beds, very cool, very cool. We're going to talk about med beds. Microchips. Oh, Ghislaine Maxwell. And Jordan Maxwell. We're going to talk about those 2 Maxwells. Ghislaine is very different than Jordan, I must say. I'm just going to say. But Ghislaine Maxwell is a very important key player in all of this stuff because she's very connected to, obviously, the Epstein stuff, but also, believe it or not, other conspiracies like the Mossad and other aspects of our Khazarian mafia world takeover, New World Order crap. So, very important to know. By the way, Ghislaine Maxwell, for those Canadians who are watching me, is has close ties to our new PM, Matt Carney. That's also another call. Anywho, medicine, all the kinds of medicine, good, bad, and ugly medicine. Like literally good, bad, and ugly medicine, because there's a lot of bad medicine out there, let me tell you. The monarchy, let's talk about the monarchy. King Charles and the Queen, who we used to have, and Prince Philip and all those people, evil, 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 evil. I am of British descent. My father was from England, and I took great pride as a child in that connection to Britain. For whatever reason, I felt very connected to it. I absolutely adored Princess Diana when I was a little girl. And so to me, at 10 or 11 years old, I thought, wow, this is really cool. There's this, there's this monarchy. They have these kings and princesses and queens and all this really cool stuff. I was even there twice. I've been to England twice. It's beautiful, beautiful place. I felt very, very homey there. But I can tell you something. The monarchy, evil, and all part of this plan. All part. Doing their very beautiful jobs, doing what they came to do, helping push us back to the light by doing things that are so not of the light. That's right. That's why they killed Diana. But she's in here too, and we're going to talk about that. So here we go. Mother Teresa. Yeah, Mother Teresa. That's right. I said it. Again, coming back to the Catholic stuff and all that stuff. Mother Teresa is very connected, by the way, to Ghislaine Maxwell's father, who was actually part of the Mossad, which, by the way, if you don't know, the Mossad is the Israeli CIA. They're the people who off people, that kind of stuff. And incidentally, as we talk about him and her a little bit, he met an interesting demise, so to speak. And MK Ultra. Oh my God, if you've never checked out my YouTube videos, I have this really cool YouTube series that I did called To Thine Own Self Be True, using my last name. Kind of cool. Anyway, see what I did there. Oh my Lord. Anyway, their whole series there. In there, I think it was number 3, I interviewed a beautiful lady named Kathy O'Brien. Kathy O'Brien is a whistleblower, CIA whistleblower. She was a victim of MK Ultra. Her father sold her and her siblings into the program, into the American program. And she has an incredible tale to tell. She's written a few books. I was blessed to have an opportunity to spend and share some time with her and some light and love. Absolutely beautiful lady. Incredible story she has to tell, but very real. She will tell you that MK Ultra and all of that stuff that we talk about that is all conspiracy theory is not a theory at all. It's all very real. And she and tons and tons of other people have been subjected to it for whatever reason and however. Again, I would also like to reiterate right here and in this moment that nothing happens by mistake, coincidence, or accidents. I say that all the time. So anybody we're talking about here, everything we're talking about here is happening exactly like it's supposed to, because it's supposed to. Kathy O'Brien's experiences, JFK, all of this stuff is happening because it's meant to, just like it is. Okay. So Nazis, the New World Order, Nassara Jassara. I'm sure you've heard a little bit about that. We're going to talk about that. And NASA. NASA. Don't even start me on that tonight. Don't even start me on that. When we get to that one, that's probably going to be its whole new call. Its own call, I should say. Operations, Paperclip and Mockingbird, and overpopulation. And the Obamas, Barack and Michelle, aka Big Mike. Panda Eyes, Pizzagate, Putin. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Panda Eyes, Pizzagate, and Putin. Pharma, pedophilia, Podestas, the Podestas, and Princess Di. Q. Q comes with QAnon and the Gospel of Q. Are you familiar with the Gospel of Q? Do you know the Gospel of Q is actually apparently the earliest teachings, the earliest Gospels, and although there is now real true material evidence of it anymore, there is scholars have determined that it is actually a precursor to the Gospels, the Gnostic Gospels, actually. It is what was written before. So that's kind of interesting, but we'll talk about the Gospel of Q, which I also think, by the way, connects very clearly to Q, the movement of. See, we'll talk about that. Anyway, see, I almost went off on that. Anyway, reptilians, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the Red Shoe Club. Not very nice at all. And Roswell, we'll talk about that. Spirit cooking, Satanism. Yeah, we're going to talk about it all. I'm telling you, spirit cooking. Oh my God, have you heard about this stuff? George Soros, evil, 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 walking evil. Sex trafficking, Klaus Schwab, another evil. This guy's like, Klaus Schwab is like that Dr. Evil on like the Mike Myers movies, in the Austin Powers movies. He literally is like that guy. Shadow government and the secret space program. Do you know about the secret space program? Do you know that there are super soldiers? These are incredible beings who've been trained to do and carry out missions we can't even wrap our heads around. This is stuff like sci-fi movie stuff, and this is real. These guys and women do this. There are all kinds of them, and they're not just men, they're women too, who are recruited and then taken into the secret space program and who carry out incredible missions and feats. And we'll talk about those too, because they're just, I'm going to go there. They're out of this world. Okay, we have to keep it light, folks, because it does get pretty heavy. I can tell you that right now. I know so many people who don't want to talk about this stuff because they think it's too heavy. It's just way too heavy for them to handle. And we got to lighten it up, because you know what? It is heavy, but it doesn't have to be. That's what we're here to do, right? Is to transmute that stuff, that thickness, that density. T's, we're into T's already. We're getting through this. Trump, Donald J. Barron, and John G. We're going to talk about all three of those guys because they're all very big key players here. I'm going to tell you a little story when the time comes of when I saw Trump in person a number of years ago. And I'm talking like a lot of years ago, probably 12 or 13 years ago now. I saw him in person, and my experience was like, it blew me away. Trudeau, we're going to talk about Justin. Yeah, not for long, but we're going to talk about him. We're going to see, you have to see why he did what he did and why he is the player he is. He is an important player. You just need to know that, okay? Just so you know. Tesla, we're going to talk about Tesla. Transhumanism, big deal. Transhumanism and transgenders. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. Again, no judgment, no opinion, none whatsoever. Just what is that about? What is that about? Because really, that is very connected to all of this stuff, because we have to embrace and understand our angels are androgynous. You know, for the most part, when we're not here living these lives in this experience, we are androgynous. We have neither gender, neither. We're not one or the other. So really, it does, you know, kind of make sense why this is a thing for people nowadays. The question is, do we see how it's being used as a thing? That's the thing. Okay, Ukraine, United Nations, and the United States of America. We're going to talk about all three of them because none of them are good. but the United States of America actually has an incredible role that it's playing here right now as the I Am experience. It is showing us the redemption. It is showing us what happens when you hit the depths of evil and how you come back from it to be light beings once more. Okay, because that's really what's happened there in the States, right? V is viruses, vaccines, and the Vatican. The Vatican. There's a whole call too. The Pope. We're going to talk about the popes. Do you know that there's more than one pope? Do you know that there's a white pope? That's the one everybody sees. Do you know that there's a black pope? That's the one nobody sees. Do you know that there's a gray pope? That's the one nobody ever sees. The Great Pope's the one running the show, by the way. The Great Pope, however, these papal bloodlines, these particular lines answer to something even more. They answer to 13 bloodlines. Yeah, we'll talk about those too, the 13 bloodlines, because they feed into all of this stuff. They're the tendrils. They're some of those tendrils that we have to talk about. It's good to know. I don't know how good you're doing on Jeopardy with it. Maybe not art. Well, we need a Jeopardy for our own stuff, don't we? Last but not least, the white hats and witchcraft. People talk about the white hats. The white hats are apparently the organization of light, that are the family of light, or the organization of light, or the family of company of heaven, even, who are here on the ground as, ground crew, who are literally combating, literally fighting, right? Going in there and actually taking down some of these systems. The rest of us are here holding light, charging light, and being charged with light, so that they can have they have the ability and the way to do it, what they're doing. And finally, A to Z, remember, Zionism. Zionism. This speaks to so very much of it. This Z connects everything together. Everything. Surprisingly. Now, this is going to be a very intense. And while we just ran through the topics of this particular series that we're going to do, we're going to get into these. We're going to talk about them. I want to tell you how the Ashkenazis and the Khazarian mafia came to be here and taking over in these systems, how they came to implement this stuff and be the forces of evil behind so very many of our elements here that we need to transmute. They're here doing a job. The Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. The Rothschilds specifically, right? They're very they're not the only part of it, but they're the biggest part of the Illuminati and all of that stuff. So welcome to this trip to Spiritually Speaking, and this connections, connecting the dots, A to Z stuff, where we will have this conversation of conspiracies. We're going to have this conspiracy conversation because it is no longer meant to be held back and hidden from us. We're meant to know. We're meant to bring it to the forefront, and we're meant to shed light on all of it, so that it is no longer playing out in the darkness and controlling us from there. Controlling us. Bring it out into the front, into the forefront, and into the light, so that we can all see what it is and no longer be enslaved by it, held down and restricted by it. Everything. The birth certificate registration. Do you know about that? That's where the cabal came in, the Illuminati. They divined this whole system to enslave every one of us who is part of a Commonwealth country, by the way, which also goes to serve the, understanding how where we are right now could very well result us in being, could result in us being actually absorbed by the US here as Canada, the 51st state, essentially. Again, you're not talking about politicians yelling about what they're going to do for the people. That doesn't matter. These systems are rigged. These people have been appointed. They're selected. They're not elected. They're selected. And what happens is, from those higher echelons, those people in those upper places, they're the ones running the show. We're going to talk about that. George Soros and people like that, who have so much power and influence that they can determine the outcomes of elections for countries. Who owns the title? What kind of backdoor deals were happening and have taken place? If something as as interesting as Israel becoming a state, promised to become given, literally given from somebody else from one nation to another. Here, you have this. Give it to a family. It wasn't even given to a nation, it was family. This is how we are. This is risk, monopoly, and chess. And we are but pawns in this beautiful game. Shakespeare wrote that all the world's a stage and we are but merely actors upon it. Yeah, but you know what? Some of us actors can steal the show. And we can make changes to the script. And that's what we're here to do. That's exactly what we're here to do. So thank you for joining me here this evening to run down this beautiful list of things. I'm also going to add Every Child Matters. I have a bunch of stuff actually that I've added to the list already. Every Child Matters. Somebody asked me to put in there Pretendians. There's a bunch of stuff that we're going to go over as well. Like this, because all of this stuff matters. It does. It all connects up to show us a picture that, you remember those connect the dots? It forms a picture. And we need to see that picture so that we know where we are in it, where we stand with it, and what we can do about it. So, yeah. So if you're game to go over all of this stuff with me in the coming weeks, yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have a great time at it, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to it. So that being said, this is our intro, and you can find this link on my page. I will repost it every week, and we'll just continue to find ourselves here on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and we'll talk about the stuff, starting with the A's. We're going to go through those aliens and the Anunnaki, because that stuff is playing out right now. A lot of stuff is playing out right now, and we need to know. We really do, so we can do something about it. We are not victims. We are not victims. We are never meant to be victims. I do not believe for 1 second we all came here as the advanced, incredible, eternal souls that we are to be exterminated. No, no, not in my watch, not in my plan, and neither is it for you either. If that's the case, then you more than likely would be doing a lot worse than you are, and you wouldn't be gathering with me here tonight. So on that note, thank you once more for joining me. We're going to do this, and I'm going to try and compile this stuff so we can kind of bring it together and condense it a little bit so that it's not necessarily overwhelming and taking up too many weeks, but stuff to talk about. We got lots to talk about. So yes, join me here Saturday nights at 8 o'clock for Spiritually Speaking. We're going to connect some dots. We're going to have conspiracy conversations. Right on. Thank you so much. Until next time. And I will say, in the coming weeks, we will have an opportunity. You can throw out some questions. I will actually ask for some questions, and we're going to do maybe some roundtable discussions, like I said. Absolutely. So that we can all contribute our information, because I don't know everything. You can bring some stuff to the table too, and we can all share it together. Miigwech, thank you all. I love you so much. Have a great Saturday evening, and until next time, we'll talk soon. God bless.